The ways Justice Muhammad Uwais electoral reform panel made very far-reaching recommendations to Nigeria on the need to have an independent appointing authority for the leadership, the hierarchy of INEC. The body that should appoint the INEC chairman should not be the same person as the executive head of the government of Nigeria. Because if you have a president of Nigeria who is deeply partisan like the one we have right now, it is virtually impossible to expect that the person he has handpicked and made the chairman of INEC will not be teleguided to manipulate the electoral process, which is what actually happened during the last election. Election management has always been a major factor that has been drawing Nigeria backward. We are specifically concerned about the fact that for so many years we have been holding elections, and when elections are disputed, when litigations ensue as a result of grossly mismanaged elections, or as a result of some kind of electoral heist or robbery that must have taken place during the elections by INEC. INEC is always responsible for undermining democracy in the country for a very long period of time. Is that they will come up with some very flimsy and unacceptable reasons why certain things are not put in proper shape to allow for credible elections. And when you have elections take place in Nigeria, and you have people who are aggrieved, candidates who are aggrieved, what kind of a country will make it very impossible for candidates who are aggrieved to be able to ventilate their grievances lawfully and to come to a logical conclusion ahead of the swearing in of whoever will eventually be certified as the winner of that election? It's only in Nigeria that you will find out that a presidential election, for instance, will take place, and if there are litigation that spring up from the conduct of that election, it will take the judiciary donkey years to sort out the cases that are filed before them. This is not a question of trying to provide a theory. It's a question of practicality. You have an election that has taken place around February, and so many people are aggrieved that the conduct of that election did not meet the threshold of transparency and credibility. And they decided to file petitions before the tribunal. And the election tribunal has only just started. I think what happened yesterday or so was that the election tribunal had just fixed a date for the hearing of the litigation that has been filed by about two candidates. Let's take it, two candidates who are challenging the presidential election, Peter Obi of Labour Party, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP. And we have less than 20 days. Less than 20 days. Today is 50. Okay, call it. We will have how many days? About 24 days. And Nigeria will have an inaugurated president. And the petitions that are filed before the tribunal, election tribunal, will still be running. They will still be hearing it. And the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has created a lot of booby traps that will make it almost impossible for a fair judicial process to happen. Because if you have somebody who has been return as the winner of a very controversial election like the one we just had. Someone who is very desperate to become the president of the country, who said, this is my time to be president, and becoming president of Nigeria is my ambition, life ambition. How do you think the judiciary that is already captured, because the judiciary in Nigeria is not independent, is not independent. There are so many instances to show that the judiciary in Nigeria is not independent. I want to use a very recent case of Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu won his case at the appellate court, the second highest court in the land, questioning all the charges that were slammed on Nnamdi Kanu and ordering his immediate release. Then you have a country where the executive arm of government just laughed over it and decided not to obey the court, and even went back to the same court that they refused to comply with their order to file frivolous application to stay execution of that judgment, and ended up obtaining the permission of the court to proceed to the court above, the Supreme Court. And the process is something that is supposed to address the abuse of the fundamental human right of a citizen of this country who has been clamped into solitary detention for more than getting to 2 years. So the judiciary is completely in a prison chain.